Hello, and welcome to Connecting You to You Radio, where we tune in to receive the messages of health and well being that are being broadcast from the soul. I'm your host, Lisa Warner, author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing. I show you how to heal your body naturally by combining your body's innate intelligence with the wisdom of your own soul, so that you can break through the mental programming of limiting beliefs that cause disease and make healing your body and changing your life simple. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another Lunch with Lisa. I am Lisa Warner. I am the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing. It's the book I wrote after I healed myself from cancer naturally without using the medical model at all. And if I can do this, we all can do this because this is how our bodies are designed. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Today, I wanted to talk about don't let your symptoms fool you. When I found myself facing cancer, the symptoms were pretty scary. There's all kinds of symptoms that seem very scary to us. And we have been taught to be afraid of our symptoms. We have been taught that our symptoms, the things that we don't enjoy, the things that are painful, uncomfortable, disconcerting, we've been taught that they are signs of sickness and disease. However, on my own healing journey, I discovered that this is not true, and that we have to change our consciousness around our bodies. And we have to start looking at our symptoms from a completely different angle. We have simply been programmed to believe that there's something wrong with our bodies. If we're experiencing pain or vomit, diarrhea, inflammation, we have been taught that these and all kinds of other symptoms are bad, that there's signs that our bodies are not working properly. And this is simply untrue. What I learned on my healing journey was that those symptoms are the symptoms of healing. They are the symptoms that our bodies are working exactly as they are designed to function. When we have emotional trauma, our bodies respond to the trauma in biologically appropriate ways to help us move through the trauma. And this may mean that the body starts to create extra cells or to decrease the number of cells or to have a change in muscular function, like a weakness in a muscle, for example. All of these adaptations are ways that the body helps us through our emotional turmoil. But we have been taught to believe that these adaptations are the signs of sickness and disease. But the discovery of the 5 biological laws by Dr. Hammer back in 1980 proved beyond the shadow of a doubt that these symptoms are the body functioning perfectly to help us survive. But because our consciousness dictates our reality, when we believe, 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 when we believe the stories we've been told by the experts, and we don't question those stories. We simply create those stories for ourselves. We are grand creator beings. We are angels in human form. Who we are is not these bodies. We are the soul in the body. We are the non physical essence. The soul is non physical, and it is living life force essence. It is pure consciousness. We are the consciousness animating the physical body. And it is through our consciousness that we generate our reality. And at this point in time in our human history, the humans, all of us, we are starting to wake up and realize that our consciousness has been hijacked for thousands of years and that we have been taught things that are not true. And this is one of them. Disease is the illusion. It's not what's happening to our bodies. But don't believe me. I don't want you to just believe me. I want you to discover this for yourself. When I was when I was facing cancer, I was terrified because I've been taught that cancer is the enemy, that it's out to get us, that the cells are just going to keep growing and growing and growing until they eat us alive. This is not true. I am right here, right now, in perfect health, living proof that nothing was eating me alive, that my body was functioning exactly the way it was designed to function. But when I was looking at what was happening to my body as being attacked by cancer, I can tell you that my life was a living nightmare. It was complete fear. It was total distrust of my body. It was, oh my gosh, am I going to live? Am I going to die? I had already chosen definitively to not go the medical route. So then I was also in constant, like, oh my gosh, did I make a mistake? Have I gone the wrong direction? Blah, blah. There was an awful lot of emotional wobbling that could have been easily avoided. And my healing journey could have been much faster and much more direct. But because I didn't know any of this at the beginning of my journey turned out to be the long and winding road until I got to the top of the hill and phew, made it over the hump. And then started on that long, easy path of allowing my body to heal itself, which obviously it did. But what I discovered was that I had to completely flip the way I was looking at this cancer. So my approach to self-healing was I decided to go inside and look for the answer that was already inside. I had to start looking for the health that was already available to me. I had to start looking for my higher level wisdom. I had to start tapping into the wisdom of my soul, the higher consciousness that has a broader perspective than the narrow perspective that we have been taught by the system. And once was able to get my mind quiet enough in my meditation state, and the wisdom of my soul was able to break through the constant noise of, oh my gosh, am I going to be okay? Once all those thoughts stopped and I got quiet, I was able to tune in to the higher intelligence of my soul. And what my soul saw was something completely different than what my human aspect was looking at. What my human aspect was seeing was, oh my gosh, danger, danger, Will Robinson. And what my soul was able to see was, hey, Lisa, there's nothing attacking your body. Your body is functioning exactly the way it's designed to function, given the circumstances you have been providing. The circumstances were all of the thought patterns of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I don't know what to do. I don't know where my next rent check is going to come from. I don't know why I can't make my life work. I don't know why the world is the way it is. I had all of these thoughts running through my head that were causing me stress. They were causing me to feel stressed and depressed, to feel not good enough, to feel like I couldn't fit in, that I didn't know enough, none of which were true. And all of this, my body was responding to all of those thought patterns, all of those neurological impulses of every thought pattern was releasing chemicals into my body of this is not good, danger, danger. There's something wrong with you, Lisa. You can't fit in. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how to make your life work. And all of those thought patterns were then sending messages to my body of, I'm not okay. So my body started responding and started to reflect every single one of those thought patterns of I'm not okay. My body showed me what I'm not okay looks like in physical form. My body was the physical form. So when I started looking at my body and feeling the discomfort, the pain, it was clear to my human self that, oh my gosh, this is not okay. There's something wrong with me. But that's not what was actually true. My body was responding appropriately to my emotional distress. As soon as I was able to get myself out of emotional distress and started to realize, like, oh my gosh, there isn't anything wrong with my body. There's something wrong with my mind because all of those thoughts do not belong to me. All of those thoughts that my mind was thinking are completely discordant with my soul. The soul cannot be not okay. It's impossible for you as the soul to be not okay. But you can think that you're not okay. You can perceive from your human self that you're not okay. And you can believe the stories that we are constantly being shown of disease and death and devastation and destruction. And hey, but that's okay. There's a pill for that. You can believe all of those stories and you will experience all of those stories. And I am here to tell you today that there is absolutely no reason why we need to continue experiencing those stories. When we start to see through the rhetoric and the illusions and the deception of those stories that we're being told and sold, we start rising up. We start recognizing that there's a different set of eyes that we can look through. We can open our third eye and see in the non physical realms. We can start to see a broader perspective. We can start to see what our soul sees. And we can start to see that there is nothing wrong with us other than the fact that we're being tortured and traumatized intentionally by the society that the powers that be have set up to entrap us, to enslave us, to make us suffer on purpose. Sorry if you don't, sorry if this is a little shocking or if this sounds weird. If this is totally shocking to you, you're probably in the wrong spot, because this is all about waking ourselves up to see what's actually possible on this planet. And if we keep listening to the authorities and the experts, we're just going to keep living out these narratives. And there's no reason for that. We're not being told the truth. And we're not going to be told the truth. The truth is up to us to discover for ourselves so that we know the truth. Knowing goes beyond believing. Knowing is palpable, it's a visceral experience. When you start to trust your body and you start to trust yourself, you stop being deceived by your symptoms. When we start to look from a different perspective, we start to see that the symptoms are exactly what they need to be. When we stop getting trapped in the symptoms, when we start recognizing that pain equals healing, that the healing process is actually uncomfortable. Why? Because healing means that the body is restructuring itself. It means that the body has been changing its form, has been adapting to our misperceived thought patterns, our stresses, our the stress, the depression, the trauma, the fear, the doubt, the guilt, the shame, the blame, the worry that we've all been taught. When we start to understand that our bodies are responding to those emotions and those thought patterns, we stop blaming our bodies and we stop running from the symptoms and we start embracing the symptoms. We start to recognize why the symptoms are there. And we start to realize, oh, it's time for me to clear out those thought patterns, those negative belief patterns that are causing me fear and doubt and shame and guilt and blah, 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 blah. Those are the actual problem. Those are the things that we need to heal. Our bodies are functioning perfectly in every single moment of every single day. They are responding directly to our thought patterns, our emotions. And it was when I started to understand that pain equals healing, that I wasn't actually being attacked by some disease, but that my body was actually trying to heal itself. I had already gotten on my spiritual journey. It had already started waking up. I had already started doing all of the clearing out of those thought patterns. That's when the symptoms showed up. That's when my body went into healing. But because we've all been taught that healing is disease, we simply keep following the path of disease, usually to our death at some point down the line. Once we change our perspective, once we allow ourselves to look from a different angle and see what's actually happening, we can avoid 95% of our suffering. the pain in our bodies needs to be moved through. If you get food poisoning, if you ingest something that's toxic to your body, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have pain. You're going to have a bellyache. You're going to have vomit and diarrhea. That's how the body is healing itself. That's how the body is expelling the toxic stuff. If your body didn't do that, you would die. And if you just embrace those symptoms, recognizing, oh my gosh, my body is helping me, my body is purging, you simply move through those symptoms in 24 hours or so, and you're good to go. But if you freak out and flip out and you just increase the trauma, you increase the stress on your body. It's by embracing your body's symptoms and allowing the body to do what it needs to do. That's how we move through the healing process. But the medical model teaches us that, oh, you got to fight those symptoms. Well, I'm telling you right now that the only thing you're fighting is your own body. Everything is healable. Your body knows exactly what to do. It's getting your consciousness on board that's tricky, little tricky. Okay, but it's really not very tricky when you just simply open up your mind and you start to realize, wait a second, maybe there is a different way of looking at things. Why haven't we been taught about biological laws? Why haven't we been taught about the universal laws of like how the universe actually works? Why haven't we been taught these biological laws that tell us beyond the shadow of a doubt that this symptom goes with this shock or trauma, and that these healing symptoms are how the body actually moves all the way through? The medical model doesn't look at the connection between our consciousness and our body. The medical system looks only at the body and completely disregards the role our consciousness plays. You cannot separate body, mind, and soul. All three parts work together. The mind is the part that's been programmed. The mind has been taught to believe these things. The mind has been taught that this means that you're really sick. These symptoms mean that, oh, you only got about 6 months to live. Better get your affairs in order. And if we believe that, then that's what we create. I'm here to tell you, you don't need to create that. You don't need to believe those stories. But I'm not here to convince you of that. If you hear what I'm saying and this rings true for you, please feel free to reach out. I have lots of ways to help you shift your consciousness. This book is one of the first steps. And simply reading this book will help you to open your awareness, to start changing the angle that you've been trained to look from. You're a soul, you're a grand being of light. You have access to the universal mind, the mind of God. When you operate from that mind, you see something completely different than the little mind that we have been programmed with. So, if this isn't making any sense to you at all, then, please, you know, please go about your business. Because this is why I'm here. This is why my soul incarnated at this time, to help with this shift of consciousness, to help end human suffering, to help recreate the paradise that this planet was designed to be. And in order for us to create heaven on earth, we have to take our own power back, and we have to start learning how to trust ourselves again and how to trust our own bodies. The medical system is not going to help us with that. It is up to each and every one of us to tune inside, to start looking for the wisdom of our higher intelligence, the wisdom of our soul, so we can start discerning and discovering the wisdom of our bodies. Our biology is incredible. It is amazing. But we've simply been taught, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too ugly, you're too old, you're too young. We've been taught to distrust our bodies. We've been taught really to hate our bodies. But hating or distrusting any part of ourselves is going to lead to suffering, period. So are you ready to start trusting your body? Are you ready to start tuning into your higher intelligence? Are you ready to start operating from the wisdom of your soul rather than from the programming of your mind? When you make that choice, you become the most powerful being in all of creation. Nothing can throw you off your path. Nothing can throw you off track. This is the level of empowerment that's available to each and every one of us. But we have to step away from the systems. We have to step away from the programming. And we have to start discovering our own inner guidance and following that. Because your inner guidance is the soul. It is always steering you in the right direction. We've simply been taught to ignore our inner guidance. Do this. That doesn't feel really good. Do this or else. We're going to punish you. You're going to get in trouble if you don't. Oh, okay. And then we just override our own inner guidance. It's been happening since we were little kids. And it's still happening today, as long as we keep allowing it. So if you're facing physical symptoms, if you've got pain, if you've got a tumor somewhere, if you've got other things going on with your body, are you willing to see the brilliance of those symptoms? Or are you going to just keep going down the path that we've been taught, that you have to fight the symptoms? When you stop fighting your symptoms and start trusting your body, and you start understanding why your body does what it does, and how to rearrange your consciousness in a higher configuration of peace and ease and joy and trust and love, you become unstoppable. You become healthy and whole under all circumstances. Are you ready for that? Are you willing to open your consciousness and allow that in? I hope this was helpful to you today. Please feel free to check out Amazon for my book. And if you would like some personal guidance, please reach out. You can find me at connectingyoutoyou.com. Thanks so much for watching. Until next week, create for yourselves a great week, because you can. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of Connecting You to You Radio.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Are you ready to discover more about how simple healing your body can actually be when you do it from the higher wisdom of your soul? To learn more about what I do and how you can work with me, visit connectingyoutoyou.com and get on my mailing list to be the first to know about my latest offerings. If you'd like to interact with me on Facebook, please join my group, Soul Sourced Healing. Check the show notes below for these links and more. I hope to see you again next time on Connecting You to You Radio.